Hello and welcome to the Powerful Personal Brand Podcast, where I and my guests share tips to help and inspire you build a great personal brand to increase your visibility and authority. I'm your host, Claire Bond, and on today's episode, I am joined by Debbie Rosemont. I always like to kind of give people 3 tips, maybe kind of twofold. So you're talking about maximizing productivity, right. And then you also talked about figuring out what your priorities are.
Right.
So maybe could you give 3 tips to figure out what your priorities are?
Okay.
And then then the priorities, then let's get productive.
Yeah.
How about that?
That's great. So I mentioned values, knowing fundamentally what's important to you is a place to start. And that then, knowing those values can really help you make decisions going forward on how you use your time, where you spend your money. I mean, that can be some place to come back to that can really help with a lot of decisions. So that's definitely a place to start is, do a values exercise. And there's, that you can find things online. I have one that I use with clients, but that's a really good place to start is know what your values are, what's fundamentally important to you. And then also consider your, kind of where are you in life? What chapter are you in? So, another example, I'm a relatively recent empty nester. So what I am spending my time on now is different than, when my kids were young and, needed me more, right? So where are you kind of in life? I talk about organizing, productivity, time management. That's a process. It's not an event that you're going to sit down, plan your time, and you will forever have the same schedule and, same rhythm. So knowing what's important to you, kind of where are you in life and what does that mean or how does that impact your plans and productivity? I'd say those are the top things in helping prioritize. And then I'm always a fan of, having things written down so that you can reflect back on them, share it with others. That helps with accountability. So I guess those are 3 things I'd say when you're trying to identify your priorities. Values, think about chapter in life, just your situation, and then write things down. Write down your goals, write down those values, have them in front of you so that you can see them. A lot of us are visual.
Yeah. And now that you've identified those values, how can what are 3 things that we can do to just really figure whatever the first place to start, how can we be more productive, whatever that first step, what are those first 3 things you can do?
Yeah. So, we just talked about when I started this business, it was as a professional organizer. I help people clear clutter, like physical clutter in their space. And it's transitioned to be more, what is the clutter that's getting in the way of your achieving the desired results? So if you know what your values are, and you know what your priorities are, what's getting in your way? And I mentioned, the too much. So sometimes too much stuff in our space, too many emails in our inbox, too many things on the calendar. So identifying which of those are clutter, where are your time wasters? Are you inefficiently doing things? Do you have good systems in place so that you can be productive? And when you sit down to do something, you're doing it in the most efficient and effective way possible. That would be kind of that next step in saying, all right, here's what's important to me. I got to figure out what's getting in my way, eliminate any of that, the time wasters or the clutter. And then the next step is to, kind of plan your time. And I'm a huge proponent of a weekly review. So taking some time each week to look at the week ahead, do time blocking. So putting time on your calendar or list making. There's, I don't believe in one size fits all as far as which way you do this, but taking time to reflect on what you've gotten done, what you still want to do, planning for the week ahead so that you've basically identified when you're going to spend time on these things that are important to you. That's a good next step.
Okay. Yeah. So I was writing down time blocking because I wanted to ask you about that because I've heard people do. So what Yeah. What is time blocking exactly? Because it seems just like weird. It's like, is there a timer that goes off? Like, I'm going to do an hour in this, and then you got to like go away and run away. Like, what is time blocking, and is it always the best fit for people?
So time blocking is identifying and kind of claiming blocks of time in your schedule. So physically on your calendar, whatever you use for that. I mean, I think everybody is pretty good about honoring what's on their calendar. You know, we have this time that we had on our calendar that we're talking, and here we are. You know, you have a doctor's appointment and Friday at 2 p.m, that's where you're going to be, right? So we look at our calendar for appointments and commitments typically that we've made to other people. And I think we can do that for ourselves as well. So in that weekly review and time blocking, if again, you know, reflecting on your values and your goals and your written priorities, you should be able to see time planned in your schedule to work on those things. So if, you know, if extra health and wellness is important to you, I actually think putting times for exercise or meal planning or nutrition on your calendar, because typically what gets scheduled gets done. So to say, all right, I'm going to time block, you know, 1 hour 4 times next week to work out. Right. If that's something that's important to you. And then putting that on your calendar creates that block of time. It helps you when somebody's then asking for your time or asking for help with something. You can look and see, well, what am I already committed to? And you can say yes or no. Moving the block if you decide that that's what you want to do, or saying, you know what, I already have something at that time. Can we pick a different time? Or can I help you next week instead? So I gave a health and wellness example, but you could probably see where you could time block for a work goal as well to say, all right, I have a proposal that I want to get out to a prospective client. I know it's going to take me an hour. I'm going to block the time to do that on Monday because I've told them today is Friday. We had a conversation. I want to make sure to get that out by the end of the day, Monday. So blocking time.